Okay, in this problem, we're asked to factor. So as you recall, we've got two terms, and we're going to be looking to see what they both have in common. And it looks like they both have the base x squared plus 3 in common. So that's going to be part of that greatest common factor. So it's going to be x squared plus 3. So what we're going to do is the process of factoring actually divides to the outside the greatest common factor. So I'm going to put x squared plus 3 to the outside, and then I'm going to have something left over. And right here, I'm going to have the yellow part, and over here, I'm going to have the purple part. Now, I'm not done factoring, so I'm just kind of explaining the process. Now, they both had an x squared plus 3 base. Then you look at the exponents and you see which one is the smaller exponent. Well, the smaller exponent is -4. And you've never done this before, potentially. So this is new. And this is what you would do in a calculus class. And it's really not that challenging once you see an example or two. So I'm going to take the smaller of the two exponents, which is -4, and that's going to be the greatest common factor. X squared plus 3 raised to the -4. Now, what's left over from this first term when I divide out that greatest common factor of x squared plus 3 raised to the -4 power? Here's the x squared plus 3 to the -4 power. Well, these cancel out completely. Boom, boom, and I just have an x squared left. Then I've got the plus sign. And now I have to look over here. And this part's probably the more challenging part because it's not normal that you have like the negative exponent still, right? Sometimes we make that negative exponent positive by bringing it up to the top. And then we would add 3 plus 4 is 7. You can also use your division property and say 3 minus -4, still 7. So the second results in x squared plus 3 to the 7th power. And I'll do that off to the side so you can see x squared plus 3 cubed over x squared plus 3 to the -4 is equal to x squared plus 3. You keep the base and you subtract the exponents. 3 minus -4, well, that's a 7. Okay, so this is our answer. I'm going to box it or bubble it, and that's our answer. Now, I would be willing to bet that even one more step would be x squared plus 3 to the 7th. Now, we're not going to multiply this out because that's x squared plus 3 times itself 7 times. That would be extremely long and difficult. But I'm going to take this term because it's got the negative exponent, and I'm going to move it down to the denominator. So I'm going to have x squared plus 3 to the 4th power in the denominator, to the 4th power. And that, I'm going to put that in a heart because that right there is probably the answer that you would find in a solutions manual. Okay, let's try another one. So here we've got 2x squared times x minus 1 to the 1/2 minus 5 times x minus 1 to the -1/2. Again, I'm going to look at these two terms, see what they have in common. The only thing that they have in common is that base of x minus 1. So I'm going to be factoring out, let's do this one in purple. I'm going to be factoring out an x minus 1 from both terms. But an x minus 1 to what power? Well, I'm going to look at the exponents. And the smaller of the exponent, 1/2, -1/2. Well, -1/2 is smaller than +1/2. So that's what I'm going to factor out, is the x minus 1 to the -1/2 power. Now to the outside, I'm going to put that greatest common factor, x minus 1 to the -1/2. And then what's inside the parentheses? Well, this first term, nothing cancels out. So nothing cancels out. So I'm going to have that 2x squared, but I'm going to have 1/2 minus -1/2. 1/2 minus negative 1/2 is 1/2 plus 1/2. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So this is going to be x minus 1 to the first power. Then I'm going to have this minus sign, and I'm going to have that 5, and then this term, or this factor rather, cancels out with this factor. So that's just a minus 5 that's left over. There we go. A little bit of cleanup to do here, because this time I only have a first power, so I don't have to expand and multiply by itself 7 times. So I'm going to have a fraction. This term is going to go to the denominator so that we can make the exponent positive. So I'm going to have x minus 1 to the 1/2 now in the denominator. And then inside, I'm going to have 2x squared times x, 2x squared times negative 1. That's 2x cubed minus 2x squared. And then, of course, I have that minus 5. And this is a great big heart as well. And that's how you do 57 and 59. So those are factoring. Now, in another video, I'm going to simplify this fraction right here.